Today, we remember 15 gospel legends whose powerful voices and ministries touched millions, yet whose lives were tragically cut short by AIDS. From pioneering choir leaders to iconic singers, these artists faced stigma and silence but left an indelible mark on gospel music and culture. Join us as we honor their legacies and shed light on the impact of AIDS within the gospel community. 1.
If you would extend your...
Thomas Whitfield, often hailed as the maestro of gospel music, was a groundbreaking composer, pianist, and producer whose influence reshaped the sound of contemporary gospel. Born in 1954, Whitfield rose to prominence in the 1980s with his innovative arrangements, blending traditional gospel with sophisticated harmonies and orchestral elements. His work with the Thomas Whitfield Company and collaborations with artists like Vanessa Bell Armstrong and Yolanda Adams cemented his legacy as a visionary in the genre. Despite his immense contributions to gospel music, Whitfield's life was tragically cut short when he passed away in 1992 at the age of 38. While his death was initially attributed to undisclosed causes, it was later confirmed that he succumbed to complications related to AIDS. At the time, the stigma surrounding HIV/AIDS, particularly in the Black church community, meant that his diagnosis was not widely publicized. Many in the gospel world only learned the truth after his passing. Whitfield's death sent shockwaves through the gospel music industry, prompting discussions about health, secrecy, and the need for compassion in the face of the epidemic. His musical genius, however, remains immortalized in timeless compositions such as, "I Shall Wear a Crown," "We Need a Word from the Lord," and, "Hold On, Help is on the Way." Today, he is remembered not only for his artistry but also as a figure whose story reflects the broader struggles of the HIV/AIDS crisis in the Black and gospel communities. 2. Keith Pringle was a dynamic gospel singer, songwriter, and choir director who made a significant impact on contemporary gospel music during the 1970s and 1980s. Known for his powerful vocals and energetic directing style, Pringle became a key figure in the Pentecostal gospel scene, particularly through his work with the Pentecostal Community Choir. His music blended traditional gospel fervor with the emerging sounds of urban and praise and worship music, influencing generations of gospel artists. Among his most beloved songs were "There's a Praise in My Soul," "Yield Not to Temptation," and "Jesus, You Brought Me All the Way." His recordings, including the live album Pentecostal Community Choir featuring Keith Pringle, became staples in Black churches and gospel choirs across the country. Pringle's life and career were tragically cut short when he passed away in the 1990s. While the exact circumstances of his death were not widely publicized at the time, it has been acknowledged in gospel circles that he died from complications related to AIDS. Like many artists of his era, the stigma surrounding HIV/AIDS in the church community meant that discussions about his illness were limited. Despite the silence that once surrounded his passing, Keith Pringle's musical legacy endures. His songs remain fixtures in worship services, and his contributions to gospel music continue to inspire new generations of singers and choir directors. His story also serves as a reminder of the toll the AIDS epidemic took on the gospel community, and the importance of compassion, awareness, and remembrance. 3.
Through the wilderness, the shadows of...
Ron Weins, a beloved member of the iconic Weins family and a respected gospel singer in his own right, left an indelible mark on gospel music before his untimely passing in 2005. Born in 1956 as the fourth son of David and Dolores Weins, Ron grew up immersed in Detroit's vibrant gospel scene alongside his famous siblings, Bebe, Cece, Marvin, and Carvin, who collectively shaped contemporary gospel music. While Ron may not have achieved the same level of mainstream recognition as some of his siblings, his smooth baritone voice and heartfelt delivery earned him a devoted following. He was a key member of the Weins, the family group that helped bridge traditional gospel with contemporary sounds in the 1980s and 90s. Beyond performing, Ron was also a songwriter and producer, contributing to the family's musical legacy. Ron's death at the age of 48 was initially met with privacy, as was common with health-related matters in many gospel circles. However, it was later confirmed that he passed away due to complications from AIDS. His passing brought renewed attention to the impact of HIV/AIDS on the gospel community, where stigma and silence often surrounded the disease. Despite the circumstances of his death, Ron Winans' musical contributions and his role in one of gospel's most influential families ensure his lasting legacy. His life serves as both a celebration of faith-filled artistry and a reminder of the importance of openness, education, and compassion in addressing health crises within the church. Songs like "The Question Is" and his work on the Winans albums continue to inspire gospel audiences today. 4. Darrell Coley, a towering figure in contemporary gospel music known for his soaring vocal range and emotive delivery, left a profound legacy both as an artist and an advocate. Born in 1955, Coley rose to prominence in the 1980s and 1990s with a string of influential albums, including "He's Right on Time" and "When the Music Stops," which showcased his ability to blend traditional gospel with jazz, R&B, and classical influences. His voice, often compared to a finely tuned instrument, earned him the nickname, the Master's Vocalist. While Coley's official cause of death in 2016 was complications from surgery, he had been publicly open about his HIV-positive status, a rarity in gospel music at the time. Unlike many of his peers who kept their diagnoses private due to stigma, Coley used his platform to advocate for AIDS awareness, particularly within the Black church community. He spoke candidly about living with HIV, emphasizing faith, compassion, and the importance of education in combating the epidemic. Coley's bravery in addressing HIV/AIDS helped challenge misconceptions and encouraged others in the gospel world to confront the crisis with empathy rather than judgment. His music, including timeless songs like "I'm Still Here" and "Beyond the Veil," carried messages of resilience and divine hope that resonated deeply with listeners. Though his passing was not directly due to AIDS-related complications, Darrell Coley's life and advocacy remain a significant part of his legacy. He demonstrated that faith and honesty could coexist, paving the way for more open conversations about health and humanity in gospel music. His voice, both literal and prophetic, continues to inspire long after his departure. 5. Sherman Hemsley, best remembered for his iconic role as George Jefferson on the groundbreaking sitcom The Jeffersons, had a lesser-known but meaningful connection to gospel music that reflected his personal journey. Born in 1938, Hemsley gained fame as a comedic actor, but in his later years, he explored his musical roots by recording the gospel album Ain't That a Kick in the Head, 2011, showcasing his deep, soulful voice and love for spiritual music. Hemsley lived as an openly gay man in an era when few black celebrities, particularly those associated with family-friendly entertainment, were publicly out. While he never explicitly discussed his health, rumors about his HIV status circulated before his death in 2012. The official cause was listed as lung cancer, but the speculation highlighted the ongoing stigma surrounding AIDS, even decades into the epidemic. His foray into gospel music, combined with his quiet authenticity as a gay black man in Hollywood, made him an unintentional trailblazer. Though he never positioned himself as an activist, his life and artistic choices challenged stereotypes within both the entertainment industry and the Black church. Sherman Hemsley's legacy endures not only through his timeless television performances but also through his brief yet poignant contribution to gospel music, a testament to the multifaceted lives of artists who navigate fame, faith, and identity on their own terms. 6.
Oh, so many.
Tyrone Davis, the velvet-voiced R&B crooner behind classics like "Turn Back the Hands of Time" and "Can I Change My Mind," surprised many fans when he turned to gospel music in his later years. Born in 1938 in Greenville, Mississippi, Davis became one of Chicago's most beloved soul singers, crafting a career filled with lush, heartfelt ballads that dominated the charts in the 1960s and 70s. In the early 2000s, as his health declined, Davis shifted his focus to gospel, releasing "The Gospel Soul of Tyrone Davis," 2003. The album showcased his rich baritone over traditional spiritual arrangements, offering a reflective counterpoint to his secular hits. While he never publicly confirmed it, close associates later revealed that Davis had been living with AIDS, a fact that added deeper resonance to his final musical chapter. Davis passed away in 2005 at age 66 after suffering a stroke. Though his official cause of death wasn't attributed directly to AIDS complications, his illness reflected the quiet toll the epidemic took on many black entertainers of his generation. His journey from soulful loverman to gospel interpreter stands as a poignant footnote in music history, a story of redemption, artistic reinvention, and the unspoken struggles faced by many during the height of the AIDS crisis. 7. Willie Mae Ford Smith, the revered mother of gospel music, left an indelible mark on the genre as both a powerhouse vocalist and a mentor to generations of gospel artists. Born in 1904 in Mississippi, she rose to prominence in the 1930s as a founding member of the National Convention of Gospel Choirs and Choruses, helping shape the sound of traditional gospel music. Her deep, resonant contralto and impassioned delivery influenced icons like Mahalia Jackson, who called Smith her mentor. While Smith herself passed away in 1994 at age 89 from natural causes, her family, like many black families during the height of the AIDS crisis, was touched by the epidemic. Several of her descendants, including grandchildren, succumbed to AIDS-related illnesses in the 1980s and 1990s. Though private about these losses, the family's experience reflected the broader, often unspoken impact of HIV/AIDS on gospel music's first families, even those not in the public eye. Smith's legacy endures through her musical innovations and the artists she nurtured. Her story, and that of her family, serves as a quiet reminder of how deeply the AIDS crisis penetrated all corners of the African American community, including its most sacred musical traditions. 8.
Through a hard time in my life, a particular time I thought I couldn't sing, I thought I couldn't smile.
Andraé Crouch, known as the father of modern gospel music, transformed the sound of gospel by fusing traditional spirituals with contemporary rhythms and melodies. Born in 1942 in Los Angeles, he began his musical journey as a teenager when he formed the Disciples in the 1960s. His timeless compositions including The Blood Will Never Lose Its Power and My Tribute became gospel standards that earned him multiple Grammy Awards and widespread recognition. Over his 50-year career, Crouch worked with music legends across genres, from Michael Jackson to Elvis Presley, bringing gospel music to mainstream audiences worldwide. Behind his professional success, Crouch navigated personal health challenges with a level of openness uncommon in gospel circles during his time. In his later years, he publicly shared that he was living with HIV, a revelation that surprised many in the church community where stigma around the disease remained strong. While he never explained how he contracted the virus, his decision to acknowledge his status represented a significant step forward in breaking the silence surrounding HIV, AIDS in faith communities. Crouch passed away in 2015 at age 72 from a heart attack. Though HIV did not directly cause his death, his willingness to discuss his status during his final years helped spark important dialogues about health, faith, and compassion within religious spaces. His courage in sharing his experience served to destigmatize the disease and encouraged others facing similar challenges to seek support without shame or isolation. The legacy of Andraé Crouch encompasses both his musical innovations and his human impact. As an artist who reshaped gospel music and as a public figure who addressed HIV with dignity, he left an enduring mark on both the genre and the community it serves. His life demonstrated how faith and honesty can work together to foster understanding, reminding us that the message of acceptance and love remains gospel music's most powerful gift to the world. 9. Reverend Dr. William H. Gray III, a respected Baptist minister, civil rights leader, and former U.S. Congressman, died on July 1, 2013, at the age of 71. His death was caused by complications from AIDS, as confirmed by his family. Gray's passing brought attention to the enduring stigma surrounding HIV/AIDS, even for someone of his prominence. His family urged the public to remember his lifelong dedication to justice and service rather than the circumstances of his death. During his career, Gray made history as the first African American to chair the House Budget Committee and later became Democratic whip. He was a powerful advocate for education, economic equality, and human rights, playing a key role in the fight against apartheid in South Africa. At the same time, he led Bright Hope Baptist Church in Philadelphia for over 30 years, continuing his family's legacy of faith and activism. His leadership bridged the worlds of politics and religion, earning him admiration from diverse communities. The revelation that Gray died from AIDS surprised many, as he had kept his condition private. The news reignited discussions about HIV, AIDS awareness, privacy, and the shame still associated with the disease. Some criticized the secrecy, while others defended his right to confidentiality. Public health advocates used the moment to emphasize that HIV/AIDS does not discriminate and that open dialogue is essential to combating misinformation and prejudice. William Gray's legacy endures through his contributions to civil rights, politics, and the church. Though his death highlighted ongoing challenges in the fight against HIV/AIDS stigma, his life remains a testament to courage, leadership, and service. He is remembered not for how he died, but for how he lived, dedicated to uplifting others and fighting for a more just society. His impact continues to inspire future generations. 10. Billy Preston's extraordinary musical journey spanned gospel, rock, and soul, leaving an indelible mark on popular music. Born in 1946, the child prodigy began playing organ for Mahalia Jackson at just 10 years old, launching a career that would see him collaborate with music's greatest names. His virtuosic keyboard work graced landmark recordings by the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and Aretha Franklin, earning him the nickname, the Fifth Beatle, for his contributions to their later albums. Throughout his career, Preston maintained strong ties to his gospel roots, infusing secular music with spiritual fervor and bringing his signature Hammond B3 sound to countless hits. Preston's health struggles became public in his final years as he battled chronic kidney failure and other complications. When he passed away in 2006 at age 59, his death certificate revealed the underlying cause as pericarditis brought on by AIDS-related illnesses. This confirmation came as a surprise to many fans, as Preston had kept his HIV status private during his lifetime. His passing highlighted the silent toll AIDS continued to take on the music industry decades into the epidemic, even among its most celebrated artists. The circumstances of Preston's death prompted reflection on his complex legacy as both a gospel-raised musician and a star of the rock world. While he achieved fame playing with secular acts, he never abandoned his spiritual foundations, recording several gospel albums and maintaining his faith throughout his career. His ability to bridge musical worlds made him one of the most sought-after session players of his generation, while his personal struggles reflected the tensions many artists faced between their upbringing and the realities of life in the spotlight. Today, Billy Preston is remembered not only for his musical genius but also as a figure whose story encompasses both the triumphs and challenges faced by artists at the intersection of faith and popular culture. His keyboard performances on classics like Nothing from Nothing and Let It Be continue to inspire musicians, while his life serves as a reminder of the ongoing need for compassion and understanding regarding HIV, AIDS and artistic communities. Preston's legacy endures as a testament to the power of music to transcend boundaries and touch souls across genres and generations. 11. Teddy Pendergrass rose from gospel roots to become one of R&B's most electrifying voices before facing extraordinary physical and health challenges. The Philadelphia native first gained recognition as the powerhouse drummer and lead singer for Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, delivering unforgettable performances on classics like If You Don't Know Me By Now and Wake Up Everybody, that established his reputation as soul music's premier loverman. His successful solo career in the late 1970s and early 1980s made him one of the first black male sex symbols in popular music, with his velvet baritone fueling a string of platinum albums and legendary, ladies-only, concerts. A devastating 1982 car accident left Pendergrass paralyzed from the waist down, abruptly changing the trajectory of his life and career. In his later years, he returned to his musical beginnings by recording gospel music, including the 1998 album, Truly Blessed, that reflected his spiritual journey through adversity. Pendergrass became increasingly involved with disability advocacy while continuing to perform, demonstrating remarkable resilience that inspired fans worldwide. His final public appearance came in 2007 at a tribute concert honoring his musical legacy. Pendergrass passed away in 2010 at age 59 following respiratory failure, with reports indicating his condition was complicated by AIDS-related illnesses contracted years earlier through a blood transfusion. While the specifics of his illness were not widely discussed during his lifetime, his family later confirmed these circumstances, shedding light on yet another chapter of his courageous battle with physical challenges. The revelation underscored how the AIDS epidemic affected diverse communities, including those whose stories remained largely untold. The enduring power of Teddy Pendergrass's voice, both literal and metaphorical, continues to resonate through popular music and disability awareness. His journey from church choir to R&B stardom, through catastrophic injury and health struggles, represents one of American music's most profound narratives of perseverance. Pendergrass's life reminds us that greatness can be measured not just in artistic achievement but in the courage to face life's hardest challenges with dignity and faith, leaving behind a legacy that transcends musical genres and speaks to the human spirit's capacity for renewal. 12. Walter Hawkins, the Grammy-winning gospel legend and architect of the contemporary gospel sound, left an indelible mark on sacred music before his passing in 2010. As founder of the Love Center Church in Oakland and leader of the famed Love Alive Choir, Hawkins crafted timeless hits like "Changed" and "Goin' Up Yonder" that became standards in churches worldwide. His innovative blend of traditional gospel with contemporary R&B influences created a new template for the genre, inspiring generations of artists who followed. Alongside his brother Edwin Hawkins of "Oh Happy Day" fame, Walter formed part of gospel music's royal family, nurturing countless talents through their Northern California music ministries. While Hawkins succumbed to pancreatic cancer at age 61, his brother Edwin later revealed the unspoken toll AIDS had taken on their musical community during the epidemic's peak years. In interviews, Edwin Hawkins described how numerous gospel artists and choir members from their circle had quietly passed away from AIDS-related complications during the 1980s and 1990s. These losses occurred against a backdrop of silence in many church communities, where stigma often prevented open discussion about the disease and its impact. Walter Hawkins' ministry became a refuge for some of these artists, offering spiritual comfort when others turned them away. The Hawkins brothers' experiences reflected a broader pattern in African American gospel communities during the AIDS crisis. Many talented musicians and choir members disappeared from the ranks with little public acknowledgement of their illnesses, their stories swallowed by shame and misinformation. Walter Hawkins' own commitment to ministry and music continued through these difficult years, even as he witnessed these quiet losses among his colleagues and congregation members. His Love Center Church became known for its progressive outreach, eventually including HIV/AIDS ministry as the crisis became impossible to ignore. Today, Walter Hawkins' legacy encompasses both his musical genius and the unspoken history he witnessed. His compositions continue to uplift millions, while the revelations about AIDS in his community serve as an important reminder of the epidemic's hidden toll on gospel music. The full story of these lost voices may never be known, but Hawkins' life and ministry stand as testament to the power of faith to confront difficult truths with compassion. His music endures not just as artistic achievement, but as a healing force for communities still grappling with the complex intersections of faith, health, and human dignity. 13. Twinky Clark, the musical genius behind the Clark sisters' signature sound, has witnessed both the triumphs and tragedies of the gospel music world. As keyboardist, songwriter, and arranger for the legendary group, she helped create classics like "You Brought the Sunshine" and "Is My Living in Vain" that redefined contemporary gospel. Her innovative compositions blended traditional holiness music with contemporary flourishes, influencing generations of gospel and secular artists alike. Behind the scenes, Clark nurtured countless choir members and musicians, developing a reputation as both a musical mentor and spiritual guide. Throughout the height of the AIDS epidemic in the 1980s and 1990s, Clark observed the devastating impact on gospel music communities firsthand. In later interviews, she spoke candidly about the painful loss of numerous choir members and fellow artists to AIDS-related illnesses, losses that often went unacknowledged due to stigma in church circles. These experiences gave her unique insight into the quiet crisis unfolding within sacred music spaces, where talented voices disappeared from the choir stands without explanation. Clark's willingness to address these losses marked a significant break from the silence that characterized many gospel communities during the epidemic's peak years. Clark's perspective carries particular weight given her family's foundational role in gospel music. As daughter of choral director Dr. Mattie Moss Clark and sister to the Clark sisters, she represents multiple generations of musical ministry. Her testimony about AIDS' impact reveals how deeply the epidemic affected even the most prominent gospel music dynasties. The losses she describes represent not just personal tragedies but a missing generation of musical innovators whose potential was cut short by the disease. Today, Twinky Clark continues her ministry through music while advocating for greater openness about health challenges in faith communities. Her experiences reflect the evolving conversation about HIV, AIDS in the church, from silence and shame toward compassion and support. As both survivor and witness, Clark's story forms an important chapter in gospel music's history, reminding us that the art form's power has always been rooted in its ability to speak truth about the human experience, even when that truth is difficult to hear. Her legacy encompasses not just the music she created, but the lives she remembers and the healing she continues to foster through her testimony. 14.
On Blueberry Hill.
Reverend James Cleveland, 1931 to 1991, was a towering figure in gospel music, known as the King of Gospel, for his profound influence on the genre. As a singer, pianist, composer, and choir director, he bridged traditional and contemporary gospel, shaping its sound for generations. His deep, gravelly voice and innovative arrangements left an indelible mark, earning him widespread acclaim. Beyond performance, Cleveland was a mentor to many artists and a driving force in gospel music's evolution. Despite his immense contributions, Cleveland's later years were marked by declining health, which led to persistent but unconfirmed rumors that he died of AIDS-related complications. Officially, his cause of death was recorded as heart failure, and no medical evidence has ever substantiated the AIDS speculation. The rumors may have stemmed from societal stigma and the lack of public discussion about HIV/AIDS at the time, particularly in black churches. Regardless, his death at age 59 was a significant loss to the gospel community. Cleveland's legacy extends far beyond his music. In 1967, he co-founded the Gospel Music Workshop of America, GMWA, an organization that nurtured countless gospel artists and choirs. His compositions, such as Peace Be Still and Lord, Help Me to Hold Out, remain gospel standards. He also broke barriers as one of the first gospel artists to perform in secular venues, bringing sacred music to broader audiences. His impact earned him posthumous inductions into the Gospel Music Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, as an early influence. Today, Reverend James Cleveland is remembered as a trailblazer who elevated gospel music to new heights. His work laid the foundation for modern gospel, influencing artists from Aretha Franklin to Kirk Franklin. While questions about his health have lingered, his musical and spiritual legacy remains unquestioned. Through his recordings, teachings, and the enduring influence of the GMWA, Cleveland's voice continues to inspire, ensuring his place as one of the most important figures in gospel history. 15. Dr. Donald Kurlin was a minister and the first husband of Pastor Tamara Bennett. He passed away in June 2000 at the age of 40 from complications related to AIDS. His diagnosis had been kept private for years due to the stigma surrounding HIV/AIDS, particularly in religious communities. According to Bennett, Kurlin became seriously ill in 1999, and it was only then that an emergency room doctor identified his condition as AIDS. She cared for him until his death while honoring his request for confidentiality about his illness. Years later, Pastor Bennett shared their story through her documentary, Journeys of Faith, which focused on testimonies of faith and perseverance. She recounted that Kurlin maintained he had contracted HIV before their marriage and had not been unfaithful. His final months were marked by severe health complications, including dementia and seizures. Bennett described the emotional struggle of balancing his privacy with the judgment they faced from others. The revelation of Kurlin's cause of death brought attention to the ongoing stigma surrounding HIV/AIDS, particularly within religious settings. Bennett's openness about their experience contributed to broader discussions about compassion, education, and the importance of destigmatizing the disease. Her story aligned with public health efforts to promote understanding and support for those affected by HIV/AIDS. Though Dr. Kurlin's life was cut short, his story remains part of a larger conversation about faith, privacy, and health. Pastor Bennett's decision to eventually share their journey has served as both a cautionary tale about the dangers of stigma and a message of resilience. Her experience underscores the need for greater awareness and empathy in addressing HIV/AIDS within communities of faith.